ask you if it's better the second time around or if it's better for you the first time around.
Well, it's a good question.
Maybe both.
Yeah. Oh, look, I still feel as the coach, there's a weight of expectation. I think especially on the back of, this streak that we've been on for such a long period of time. And all of a sudden you come into sudden death. Last week was sudden death and we could be out. Like Melbourne were super last week and really challenged us. But we actually learned a lot out of that game that we were actually able to... It was a great hit out for us because we actually addressed a few things. And, I felt the girls were so good today with what we'd actually put into place, the areas that we needed to improve to give ourselves a really good chance to tonight. And, geez, they were just super with the way they applied themselves.
Did you feel like you were hitting a similar way at the start of the game to the prelim with Brisbane's pressure? It felt like they came first and then you were able to...
Look, their pressure was off the charts in the first quarter. It's probably one of the hottest games of AFLW footy I reckon I've seen in that first quarter. But our message was to stay calm, that it's pretty hard to sustain that type of pressure and play on that type of emotion for a long period of time. There's going to be a period where it comes down to, a little bit of system and being organised, and if we kept just sticking it, playing our way, that we'd be able to keep the scoreboard ticking over and hopefully not let them score too much. But to Brisbane's credit, they, never, like, the scoreboard doesn't really reflect, I think, how close the game was. It was actually seemed to be a pretty tight, tough, contested game. Their pressure was good at stages. They had territory dominance on us for periods of time, but we were able to get through and take our opportunities when they presented.
Alish, were there any grand final nerves? Because the way you hit the packs to begin with, it looked like you were pretty comfortable out there.
I actually feel like last week was a little bit more nervy and a bit more like anxiety leading in, me personally, but I think also as a group as well. This week felt really calm. And maybe that's because you have that week off and you lose a little bit of momentum, and we knew we were coming up against a really good side, Melbourne, and, a lot of the discourse around that they'd been preparing for that game. And I guess, we were a little bit nervous last week, and that might have showed in the way that we performed. But this week around the club just felt super calm, super composed, just really enjoying the week. And, Croc speaks to that a lot. And it's a testament to the program that we're set up to be able to do that. But, it was a really calm sense going into this game across the whole group.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I felt like last week, there was a bit of anxiousness amongst the group about, just trying to get into a grand final. And sometimes those prelims are the hardest games to try to win, to get through. So once we got in, it was just a real sense of calm. And as I said, we looked at a few things, but just a totally different group that ran out there tonight.
Is it the best game you've played, particularly given the occasion?
I don't know. It's a hard one to answer.
Did it feel good?
It felt good. It's still hard, hey? It's still hard. Testament to the players around me. They make it a lot easier. I still get told a lot where to go on the field. This is only probably one of my third or fourth games as a midfielder for North Melbourne, so I rely heavily on, the knowledge and experience of really great players around me. But, it felt good. I think that calmness kind of builds into it. You want to... This is a huge stage and playing in front of a big crowd, and you want to soak it all up. So you want to rise to that as well. So I don't know.
Can I just say one thing? About Eilish. Since we brought her into the program, she's just bought in so much into the way that we try to play, and it has been, even a bit of a journey, with where you're going to play. We've played her across half back, we've put her on a wing, we've thrown her inside at different stages. But at no stage has Eilish ever said, "Oh, geez, I wish I could just settle into this position," or "I wish I could." It was always, whatever the team needs, Croc. I'll just go and do whatever the team needs, and we'll then go and apply herself and go, okay, I need to go and learn a little bit more about the midfield, or learn a little bit more about our defensive system. So, real credit to her, the way that she's come in and just approached it, with great maturity, and that's pretty much why we're able to get her.
your injury, did this and all of this seem incredibly far-fetched? Like, how bad was it, and did you fear it may not happen?
No, there was always a timeline that said I could get back for finals and a prelim and a grand final. And, you know, I'm very lucky to be in a team that's a possibility, right? And there isn't pressure on me to get back early and make sure, you know, we need to get there. Like, I just know I can come in and play my role, and that takes the pressure off that kind of whole rehab journey. And then great S&C, great physios around me, like total trust that they've been through it before. Blueprint Emma Carney coming back last year, right? Like exactly the same kind of, very similar injury, very similar trajectory, similar place. She even said that she wore these boots. The boots that she wore in the prelim and the grand final, because I was like, I'm not wearing those boots again, because that's the ones that had my injury in. But total blueprint. So just trusting that, I think, you know, makes it a lot easier. Yeah, and just being in the moment, being present, and not getting too caught up in like what could happen 3 or 4 weeks down the path. Yeah.
Have you worried, Croc, that you have to potentially do it without her?
No, because I always thought that she was so diligent, you know, to her rehab, and you know she's a real pro, this one. So I always knew that you know, she'd get back for that prelim, and that was a really big stepping stone. We could have almost played her in the first final, but I thought, you know, well, as a match committee, we thought, nah, let's just, you know, hope that we get through that one, and that gives her another 2 extra weeks before the prelim. You know, her minutes were managed a little bit in the prelim. It very, very, as she said, very similar to Carnes last year. And that's why we felt like so confident being able to roll her out midfield. You know, didn't have to worry about minutes or anything tonight, and yeah, she did a sterling job.
Croc, the decision to play Eilish in the midfield as well. Obviously, Ruby's played a phenomenal job, but was it more of a physical strength against Brisbane's midfield to play Eilish in that spot? Yeah,
well, when we had both Eilish and also Mia out of the team, we were given that role to more of a Ballaretti. And you know, Bella will be a really good player going forward. You know, I think that eventually she can graduate into a midfield role. But you know, when it comes to finals football, it is a lot more contested. The heat's on in there, and yeah, Eilish is a very, very strong player, very robust. So. Yeah, it was good to be able to get her back and get her into that midfield mix, especially given that Mia at that stage was still tracking a few weeks behind where Eilish was.
Eilish, you've won a flag, you've done it, and you've got the best on ground medal to boot. Has it sunk in yet, and how does it feel?
No, it hasn't sunk in. It's still very surreal. I think it's just like jubilation, right? Trying to stay present in the moment. It's not so much like the best on ground's a wonderful accolade, but winning a premiership and sharing in that moment with your teammates in the program is just like so incredible. So I'm sure like tonight it'll sink in, and over the next few weeks it'll sink in, and yeah, something that I'll reflect back on. And it's probably, you know, the highlight of my career. I've never won a grand final before at any level, so it feels pretty special to do it, you know, here and with this group.
Came out like a woman possessed in that first quarter in particular. How did you prepare for this with no grand final experience?
Hyperbaric oxygen chambers. I literally came straight from one to the game.
Jeez, that's a good plug.
I don't know. I think at my age, I look for any 1% that I could get. So for me, that's something. I know Lockie Neal did it for his injury, red light therapy and hyperbaric oxygen chambers, and I jumped on board, and it has been great. So yeah, fully plug. I can give some great brands and places if you like. But yeah, I think it's finding what works for you, right? And yeah, that's been great, and just staying calm and knowing that I just need to play my role for the team. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Nothing special.
Any thoughts of a three-peat at this point?
No talking. That was a little bit of the joke in up on the dice at the end about because we weren't allowed to mention the words back to back. You know, so.
Were we not?
No.
Oh no, this season.
Yeah,
absolutely
this season.
not.
Yeah. Now we can.
Yeah. No, I think testament to Croc, very in the moment.
Yeah.
Like the whole program, very in the moment. You know, we don't talk about what's going outside of the football club. Like we don't really talk about what has been or what is going on. It's very much like us and our system and just focusing on that. And that's probably what sets the program up so well to succeed.
Does it validate your move, Alish? Do you feel like, you know, players across the league would be banging the door down to get into North Melbourne and be part of something like this, but, you know, you're in?
Yeah, I'd say I feel very blessed that I had the opportunity to move to such an incredible program. And I didn't do it just for this. I actually said to Erin, who's the GM of the program, do you think this will make me a better person? Not just a better footballer, like not just one that wins awards, like will it make me a better person? And she said, yeah, it will. And it has. It absolutely has. So I think, you know, that's the medal. The real medal. This is a physical one that I have around my neck and it's still pretty great, but like that's the real medal, and it's testament to Croc and what he's built, testament to Erin, testament to Sonia, Jen, the whole club. It's just an incredible program to be part of, and I'm sure we'll speak of it in such a way for many decades to come.
Do you automatically win the hedgehog if you win the best on ground in the grand
No, I don't think so.
No,
absolutely not.
No,
Yeah.
it's not automatic. It's
Yeah.
not yet. It's not about performance. You
Yeah.
know, it's about little things. She might have done
It's
a
about the
couple of
system.
important things, you know, that could have got to the hedgehog. I think Made by Marcy is a bit of a not-for-profit organisation. Anyway, so there's probably going to be a bit of hedgehog going around over the next few weeks.
Croc, grand final week is tough. There's a lot of emotions around it. You know, you had the Mia King decision, the pressure of the secret back-to-back. What are you feeling now?
Relief, and I said the same thing last year, and it's probably even more a greater sense of relief. As I said, like you get to that sudden death stage, like we got to last week after being on this enormous, you know, streak that we've been on, which has been phenomenal. Like the program's been so good, been staying consistent, and as Eilish said, staying in the present and not looking too far forward, or. But, you know, one little slip up, you know, we may not have made a grand final. And then today, you know, I was just, you know, so pleased for the program because I just felt like we got what we actually deserved. You know, we have been the best team for the last 2 years, and it would have been an absolute shame not to actually have won that grand final. But I know football, I'm a realist as well, and I know that sometimes things don't go your way, and, you know, we're actually able to put a really strong performance out tonight and just really justify why we're where we are.
How do you feel? You go, Claire.
The program is so strong, and you're obviously talking so much about living in the moment, enjoying this moment, which I'm sure you will. Where do you turn to next? Have you had any thought of where to turn to next in order to sustain that success, or is it just more of the same?
We're always looking to improve. You know, I think that's a big mantra of ours is each day, you know, and that's across the whole program, you know, whether it's in high performance, you know, I think we've really improved, you know, our conditioning, our strength, you know, over the last few years. Brisbane were the ones who were setting the example, you know, with that, or setting the standard with that when I first came into the women's space, and I knew that we needed to actually catch up to the way they, you know, went about their high performance stuff. They're a very fit and robust team, and we were trying to catch them. And then, you know, you look at coaching and, you know, all the different aspects of your program, and, you know, you look to get better. We've actually put some layers on our game over the last few years that I think has made us a better and more formidable team. And we'll continue to do that. You know, during the off season, we'll look at where the game's going, any trends that are occurring, and try to stay ahead of the curve. I think the pleasing thing at the moment is we're probably a little bit ahead of the curve at the moment. So there's a few teams having to come and you know, catch us with with how we go about our football. But I think Khan spoke beautifully about it during the week that you know, it's great to be the standard setters, and now it's for others to actually, you know, raise things from the bottom up.
Is that a key part of the motivation for you going forward, raising that ceiling on the competition and making the overall competition stronger? Is that a really important part of it for you?
For me personally, I've come into this space and I've always felt that the product could be improved a hell of a lot, with some really good coaching, with some good, as I said, with high performance being where it needs to be, with the resourcing within your program. And I think we're actually seeing some benefits of that. I think the product's actually at the top, as I mentioned tonight, is really, improving and looking pretty good. So let's keep trying to lift those, or, raise those standards, keep improving, keep getting better, and and hopefully we can drag a few with us.
Thanks, Shane.
Congrats, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.